Welcome to week number 31, starting with the Scotia Bank CFTC report. Was massive increase in euro longs, now standing at near, I believe, 23 billion contracts long. Bearish bets on Canadian dollar are falling. Bearish bets on the pound are increasing, and be getting into in a moment why the reason behind it. Commodity currencies are mostly flat, so AUD, NZD and MXN have been trading flat for some time. There's not particular interest in buying or selling it. CHF, yen and gold increasingly being bullish. Show you how euro evolved over the last few weeks. So on the week of the 21st and 28th of July, that by then was very clear that the Euro Mutual Debt agreement came through, and that's when the longs really started coming in strong. But that wasn't the only reason why euro started getting really strong bids. Euro economic performance was way better than all the other peers, especially the United States. The GDP was better, unemployment was lower, CPI was coming higher, and all of these numbers, retail sales all stronger, they were all higher than the United States, so it made sense to see euro climb higher, and this positioning reflected all of that. Going forward, that sort of exuberance ran its course to this point, so expecting more euro USD upside will be really more down to USD depreciating rather than euro appreciating much further. I'd much rather play euro against AUD higher, as Australian economy is starting to get the pain from the COVID as well, slightly, a little bit higher. Unemployment coming through. CPI was incredibly low last week, so you're gonna start to see a little bit more pain creeping into the Aussie dollar, and ideally would like to see some more euro AUD upside. The reason why GBP continuously getting built up in bearish position is naturally the issue with Brexit negotiations, so that has led nowhere. There's more talks going into September and October, but at this point there is no concrete solution to it. So even though pound has enjoying some pretty decent economic data, the bearish bets will likely to continue building up, and I'll be going through the calendar to figure out when we should see this bearish positioning in the price action as well, and when to expect GBP to come down. And a quick look on yen and CHF. So both are getting increasingly bullish bets, and that doesn't necessarily feed into higher currencies. The reason why these are getting a bit higher is mostly to reflect what's happening with global yields as they continuously to drop. So I'll be reading into these bullish bets into these risk-off currencies more as part of a confirmation that yields are moving lower, bonds are getting bid, and particularly looking at gold, I'm expecting possibly higher prices into 2000 and above, as real yields are continuously climbing lower. Which takes me to the next chart. This is the blue line is the real yield chart inverted, and the golden line is gold. And just to really keep things into perspective, the reason behind gold's massive climb has been the non-stop meltdown of real yields as it continues to climb lower. Again, on the chart is inverted. Gold will find its way higher with it. It moves hand in hand. And looking at the CFTC data, the bids on yen and CHF incredibly strong. That sort of just underlines the strength of that move, and there should not be any particular top in sight until the whole bond trade and the treasury protected trade starts to unwind. So it still could be a good few while until the whole recession starts to play out. Moving on to next week's calendar. Now we're starting off on Monday. Usually we overlook this on Sunday, but we're starting off on Monday. We had good ISM manufacturing print from the United States, so there was a little bit of a risk on boost. We started kicking into USD JPY as well, sort of midday, then it started coming off a little bit. Now some really interesting happened overnight with USD JPY is that there is a M&A activity going on with near to, I believe, $18 billion M&A deal going through a Japanese company tries to acquire a United States company, so we should expect USD JPY to really hold these levels, and moving towards the end of the week I'm expecting higher levels to come based on the M&A activity. So it's usually a one-off effect which tends to generate good solid flows, one-sided flows into USD against yen. So even if you find by tomorrow prices drop a little bit, the possibility of these bouncing back up and meeting these highs is extremely high. So that's a play I'll be looking to do going to Tuesday and Wednesday. Going for the calendar, there's not a lot of clarity and not a lot of news going forward. So we have the RBA meeting. They are likely to address the really low inflation readings from last week, but you also can see AUD already reflecting some of the bearishness. We also have New Zealand with their quarter-on-quarter CPI numbers coming through. So I mean the employment numbers coming through. So that would be in focus as well to see how NZD reacts. There's nothing concrete about these currencies right now as they've been moving broadly with the indices. So even if you see a dip, eventually the medium-term trend would be in line with the indices as they've been punching higher. Big event going into this week is mostly for me the pound, as it's moving into the Bank of England announcement. The Bank of England has been floating the idea of negative rates, but it continues to been pushing back. So it's been very solid about that, where negative yields is on the list of things that could be happening, but it's not the way they would want to go. And I believe a few months back we saw some negative flows going to GBP because of that. I don't believe that will materialize again, specifically with 2-year yields in the pound starting to move higher again from the lows. I'd be expecting pound to start moving higher into the event as well. Keeping that in mind, so I've marked out that sort of box where I expect GBP USD to bounce. There's an increasingly high chance of GBP USD touching the 1.3031 level again, specifically into tomorrow, which is Tuesday. So I'll be expecting a bounce, a rejection, and a move higher into Thursday. That would be probably the play. Last thing to look at would be the NFP this weekend. But in the United States, the unemployment peaked last month or so and starts to climb down. And generally that would be a positive. But what happens with the lower unemployment, that means there's going to be less stimulus for the Americans as well. So I believe they get an extra $600 stimulus right now. As the unemployment starts climbing down, that stimulus will get lower, and that usually would mean as well risk should come off. I'm expecting late Thursday into Friday risk assets to start climbing down. So I'm expecting CHF to perform a bit better, USD to perform a bit better, and AUD possibly to underperform. But nearer the time we will digest to see what the best setup will be. And that will be all to look at from coming this week.